Mr. Collier here. Now we're going to talk about energy transformations, or energy changing from one state to another. Now energy can change from one form to another. It's very common, happens all the time. And when energy is lost in one form, it is gained as another form, which is going to go into something else we talk about, the law of conservation of energy. Energy can't be created or destroyed, we're simply changing form. So for example, we create electrical energy for our homes. We do this by often burning some sort of fossil fuel. This little diagram has burning methane, natural gas. And when you burn that, that chemical reaction releases heat energy. So you turn your chemical energy into heat energy. That heat then is going to create steam by boiling water, which is then we're going to use the pressure of that steam to turn a turbine. That's mechanical energy. And that's going to create electrical energy, which then is what goes to your home. So energy can very easily change from one form to another. It's a major piece of our everyday life. In physics and mechanics, when we look at the conservation of energy or energy transformations, we're going to look at how potential and kinetic can transform from one to another. So for example, as you throw a ball into the air, you give it kinetic energy. And as it goes, it transforms that kinetic energy into potential energy until at the apex of its height, it's got all potential energy where you started it with all kinetic energy. And that transformation goes back the other way as the ball falls back down, gaining kinetic and losing potential. So here we have a diagram that illustrates how as the car goes down the ramp, it gains kinetic because it's speeding up and loses potential because it's closer to the ground. And as it goes through the loop, it gets more potential as it gets higher up the loop and less kinetic. And this is true of roller coasters. When you're on a roller coaster, the higher up you are, the more potential energy you have. And as you fall, you gain more kinetic energy. Typically, if gravity is the only force acting on you on a coaster, you're going to be going fastest at its lowest point, and obviously the slowest at its highest point. And that is a trend in energy. Energy systems tend to move from higher to lower energy. There's a lot of different sources of energy. For example, chemical energy is stored in the food you eat, and it can be transformed into other types of energy as your body breaks down the chemical bonds. Earlier we talked about how we use joules to measure energy, but there are some other units that will show up in your everyday life, like kilowatt hour, food calorie, and British thermal units. This chart shows you a few common activities and how it relates to different amounts of energy.